other school. I'm not going to mention them this school because I don't think they deserve to get recognition.
Whoa.
No, because I just didn't like it there.
Yeah.
I didn't like it there. I lasted 6 months there. It was a small academy. It was someone I worked with in Brixton who went on to have her own school, and it wasn't what I expected. You know,
was that the one where you was going to do with art? It was like an art.
Yeah, I was like the art coordinator, so I was the only art teacher in there.
I think you told me you was going to do something
it was
big there.
I didn't. Do you know what it was? I was a foster care at that time.
Oh, yeah.
So I took 6 months. This is how I left Brixton. I took 6 months out on a sabbatical to be a foster carer. The placement didn't work out. So I decided I had to go back into employment. I decided that I was going to leave Evan Grace at that time because...
So about the dog guys.
Yeah, we've got the windows open. Yeah, it's cut outside.
Yeah.
Some BVs for you.
Yeah.
So the foster care placement didn't work out. So I went back. I got a job at another school instead of going back to Evan Grace Academy because I just felt like a lot of people had left by then. One of my best friends who was the art teacher alongside me, one of my colleagues, had left to go to Qatar. So I knew that it was never going to be the same going back into the art department. I needed her sisterhood, friendship, everything you can think of that helps you get through. And that was gone. So I knew that I couldn't go back. So anyway, went to an academy. It was a small school academy. I only had 60 kids in every year group. Only did about 6 months there. And then I managed to... There was a lady who worked at Evan Grace, Miss Jenkins.
Yeah.
Miss Jenkins was...
Wow,
she did recruitment.
Yeah.
So I messaged her and said, I'm looking for a job.
Yeah.
So she got there was a position as an art teacher at school in Lewisham. And went there. As soon as I saw the kids, I was like, I'm at home. It was like going back to Brixton again. I saw afros. I saw me there. You know, and it's a community school. The staff had been there. Some of the staff that were at that school taught me at Cater Park.
Wow.
The school that I went to before Brits. And they remembered me. Which is crazy. And they had been at this particular school for like 15, 20 years. And I thought, that's the sort of school I want to be part of. I want to be part of a school where the staff want to stay there for long. I went there as an art teacher. So I dropped my role because obviously at Evan Grace Academy I had been a small school deputy head of year, head of learning support unit. So I had done a variety of roles at Brixton and then decided that actually I'm going to go back. I've missed out a whole chunk of my life, by the way. Because when I was at Evan Grace Academy, I was doing my top-up degree. And I went back and did my maths. Because when I was at Brit School, I was messing around so much that I didn't take my maths seriously. Had to retake it twice at Brits. Still didn't pass it. Took it one more time as an adult. Didn't pass it again. Took it whilst I was working at Brixton and passed it. I was like 2 points away from a B. But it's just, again, it's like if you don't do certain things in your earlier stages, you still have to face them. So by the time I'd got to the Lewisham school, I was fully qualified. Did my degree, had all of the paperwork and everything sorted. Went in and I just wanted to focus on teaching. I didn't want to do any leadership stuff at that particular time because I felt like I'd got my life back. You know, I didn't have to stay there till 5 o'clock. It was like, oh, everyone leaves at 3:30. I thought, I was getting home and Jeremy Carr was still on. I was like, this is weird. You know, but for me, I've made some amazing friends that I didn't think I could make friends like how I had it at Brixton again in another school. You know, the head teacher, and again another amazing head teacher, Mr. Hand. I've got a really good relationship with him, and again he's just another leader who really cares about the inner city kids. He lives in the area. You know, he understands the kids that we're teaching there. He's a good man. Just got the school to a good standard with Ofsted. So that was my last school, and I managed to do some amazing things there, which I'm still doing now for the school. You know, so I've left there a year ago. I was there for 3 years.
Wow, 3 years.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I was there for 3 years.
So you stamped your mark there, and kids remember you. And your heart's there.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I'm not jealous.
It is.
So you left there, and is that when you went to Qatar?
Yes. Again, the work colleague who I worked with in Brixton, who was my other art teacher, she had been out there and had always been asking me to come out. But because I felt it was the wrong time for my son, I always declined the offer. On this occasion, I was like, what have I got holding me back? You know, I always said that if I was in a relationship, then I wouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
I was not in a relationship. I had nothing holding me back. The only thing that I was doubting was my son, leaving him. That was the hardest thing.
Yeah.
But I knew that whatever I was going to do was going to be a good lesson for him.
Yeah.
And it was going to be good financially for me also.
Yeah.
And then that will impact him.
On him, yeah.
You know, so again, he's still the main focus, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I moved there a year ago, and it was one of the best decisions that I made, really. Yeah.
It's a big winner.
You know, and it's not all about the money. You know, my colleague who I worked with in Brixton, she always said to me, there's kids everywhere. And that for me was like, okay, I get you.
Yeah.
There's kids everywhere. And I think everyone has this perception that you go to the Middle East and you're teaching these kids that are, you know, privileged kids. They're not. These are kids coming from all different parts of the world. We got kids from Mozambique, Ghana, Pakistan, a small percentage from the very, very small percentage from the UK. But these kids ain't coming from the best home lives. They're not. You know, their families are doing the same thing I'm doing. They're coming to make a little buck and then they're going back to set up, you know. But these kids are not privileged kids. One of the things that I would say about the kids that are in international schools is that they're safe. They are safe and they learn. I've never seen kids support each other like how they do. It was quite bizarre. I remember the first assembly that I attended and the way they were cheering each other, I got quite emotional. Like, they were all dancing. Nobody had this thing about, I can't get up and dance in front of people. They support each other. I've never seen anything like it. And the only thing I can describe it is happiness. You know, and the only thing for me is that every child should be able to experience this. They should be able to come to school and feel safe. You should be able to feel, you know, be supported and feel happy. You know, so for me, like, if I was to have another child, or you know, if somebody was having a family, I would highly recommend that international school. If you're teaching abroad, having your kids in an international school is a good look for them. It really is.
That's so much broaden their horizons as well.
Oh, definitely.
Get a sense of different people.
And they can travel. You embrace different people's cultures. I mean, I've just experienced my first Ramadan, my first Eid, and it was cool. You know, lovely, loved it. There's culture. The people out there are lovely. They don't look at you because you're black. Like, it's just a normal thing. I think I got more looked at in Holland the other day than I did in Qatar.
Wow.
You know, no one pays you any mind in Qatar at all. You know, it's a place that is highly populated by expats, so it's very normal for locals.
Is it different being in Qatar than to being in, say, Abu Dhabi or Dubai?
I think socially it is. I'm not too sure what it's like in terms of working, but socially it is, because I would say Qatar is more traditional. You know, you cannot walk around in your shorts and your vest with your bra strap showing and all sorts. But in Dubai, in the mall, you see it all. You know, I went there 6-7 weeks ago, and I was just like, whoa, because now my frame of mind is, you know, I've got my mindset's, you know, Qatarified. You know, it's not a word, but I make it up. So for me, when I came to Dubai, I was like, wow, they're really loose here. Like, they just accept anything. You know, you've got ladies' night where the alcohol is free. You know, so it's encouraging drinking. Where in Qatar, it's not like that. The clubs will close at 2:00, and you have to make sure that you're not walking around acting a fool in the middle of the night, especially as a teacher. And I just think genuinely, like, if you're a teacher and you live in London, then you have to carry yourself a certain way. You know, that for me is like, you're a teacher. You're always always on duty. You're always a teacher. You know, you don't want to be bumping into your students acting a fool, because the respect has gone there. Catch you slipping. You know, so I totally enjoy it.
I even find it weird when I see other teachers out and I see them in the same place I'm a bit like, whoa, and they're getting loose, and we're like, I don't know how I feel about this. It's kind of crazy.
It is a weird profession.
It
really, really is. The perception is completely different. It really is. But yeah.
So all right, so you're in Qatar, but you're here now in London.
Yeah.
I'm not in Qatar. I'd love to be. Fly me out, yeah. All that lovely money. And you're also you run Teen Summit.
Teen Summit is my baby.
I've never. I didn't know about it until I saw stuff on Instagram.
Yeah.
But it looks amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
So. It's good for that you're here because I want to know everything about it. So I want to know, how did you start it?
Right.
Where did the idea come from? And who do you work with doing it?
Okay, right. So Teen Summit was a concept that I thought of when I was at the school in Lewisham. And we are part of a federation. And I was just thinking of something like, I remember seeing Teen Summit growing up on MTV back in the day.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to kind of replicate that kind of setting, and I was trying to think of how can I do something similar to that but bring kids from the same borough together to have the same experience. And the idea was to bring the federation kids together, 100 kids from the same federation. And then I was like, let's do it differently, let's invite the schools from Lewisham, because my thing was like, a lot of the Lewisham kids, they grew up together in primary school. Then after primary school, they all went off to their secondary schools and hardly see each other again. So my thing is like, how do we break down? How do we work together as partnership across the Lewisham schools? So I came up with the concept of having workshops for the kids, inviting guest speakers, having a panel of speakers from different professions, and getting the kids to have that experience for the day. So that happened. The first one happened last year. We had 100 kids. We had 7 schools. We had people like Flow Assist was one of the speakers on the panel. Nathaniel Peart, who's one of the most amazing motivational speakers. He was my key speaker. And then we had a panel of speakers. We had Doomy from Disturbing London came last year. We had Roy Legister, who's a barrister, one of the youngest, I think he's the youngest black person to have his own law firm.
Wow.
And he still runs his own law firm in West London. Very good man. I met him. He was my first ever key speaker that I had in Brixton.
Serious?
Yep. I met him through a good friend of mine. I actually didn't the first time I had him in the school was the first time I met him. But I booked him and said, yeah, sure, I'll come down and speak to the kids. He was absolutely amazing.
Wow.
And last time I spoke to him was probably 3-4 years ago. Sent him an email, don't know if you remember me. And he was like, yeah, I remember you, I'll come down. Just like that. These are little things that I don't forget. When people do stuff like that, for me, it means a lot. I had Chris Preddy was running workshops. He was one of the first workshop leaders that I invited into Brixton.
Yeah.
He came in as a spoken word artist. Now, Chris Preddy's OBE is an amazing spoken word artist. He had our boys writing poetry, because he connected music to it and they understood it. They appreciated it more. So he was one of the guys I reached back out to after meeting him many years prior to that. And for me, it was an overwhelming day. But again, it didn't happen. It wouldn't have happened if the head teacher didn't see the vision. The minute I presented the idea to him, he was like, I love it. His eyes just opened up. He's like, how much is it going to cost us? Contact this person. They got some funding. And then, we made it happen.
Wow.
I worked alongside the Young Mayor's team for Lewisham. So they provided the Civic Suite, the space for me. They provided lunch for the speakers and stuff like that. So I worked with them again this year. So we just celebrated our first year anniversary. But prior to that, I was then thinking about how does Teen Summit run for a whole year? So in between the whole day event, what do I have in between that? That works differently to what everyone else is doing. And I think that the unique selling point for me is I've been in education for over 10 years. I know what workshops we've had from outside agencies. Some of them have not been that great. When I hear or find out how much the schools have paid for it, it doesn't make any sense to me, because I'm like, we can do this ourselves. We can work in partnership with them, but we can plan and map out our own event. And that's how I sold it. I was like, we can do this by ourselves. And for me, it was like the people that I had as speakers, for me, it's like, yeah, it does matter